listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be with you. Happy that you were with us. Thanks for being here. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, also on CKLU streaming, cklu.ca. You can just click on the Radio Player Canada app logo and stream us. You can also download that same Radio Player Canada app and take us with you anytime and listen to us anywhere on your favorite device. Also, we're streaming live in video format on facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Welcome to the show. It's your show. Remember to comment on the show, as it is a conversation, a community conversation where we're just basically facilitating that conversation. And also by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, and all that stuff, we do our part to get the word out there so that way more people can be involved in the conversation. And speaking of more people, I'm just glad to have Zach, who has been away for a little bit of time, whatever. He was part of the starting of the show. He's with us today, old-time friend and co-founder of the beginning of this venture, basically. Zach, how you doing this morning?
Really well. I like that introduction. That made me feel really good.
Yeah. The sound, you got a little bit of crackling going on, and you're a bit breaking up, not sure. And maybe something's rubbing on something, but
yeah, maybe.
You look good anyways, so that's good. So, yeah, how you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Usually I'm up at 5:30 today. I gave myself an extra few minutes, so feeling extra good.
Yeah, well, good. That's good. Get up a little bit extra early. That's what I did this morning. My routine. But yeah, your sound is a bit whatever. I'll just mute you for a second. We'll get through the weather. See if you can just fiddle around with some of the sound that you think may be causing a bit of that crackling and breaking up. And then we'll be back right after the weather report and a little bit of sports and conversation with Zach and the rest of y'all right after this. And as usual, Sudbury Weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. That's on our it's on our website. It lands on our website. But if you just type in sudburyweather.ca, you'll get all the weather that you need. And today you can expect, at the moment, minus 13. Feels like minus 20 out there. And then for the rest of the day, a mix of sun and cloud, 40% chance of flurries in the morning. And high of minus 9, wind chill minus 25 this morning, but then minus 17 in the afternoon. It's about 10 degrees warmer, if I might even say warmer, not as cold. 10 degrees, not as cold today than yesterday. Tonight, partly cloudy, 40% chance of flurries. Overnight, wind up to 15 kilometers per hour, low of minus 13. And wind chill near minus 19. Thursday, flurries at times, heavy snow squalls, local blowing snow, amount of 2 to 4 centimeters. Winds will be gusting up to 60 kilometers per hour, high of minus 5, wind chill minus 13 in the morning, minus 26 in the afternoon. So it's going to actually get colder due to the gusting winds, I believe, in the afternoon tomorrow. Flurries, heavy at times, snow squalls, and the amount of 2 to 4 centimeters. Just repeat that if you missed it. And then on Friday, we got sunny with minus 20 as the high. So very cold on your Friday. And then as some flurries, chance of flurries move in. 40% chance of flurries on Saturday, high of minus 11. 40% chance of flurries on Sunday, high of minus 7. So it's getting warmer. Cloudy on Monday is predicted, high of minus 5. And then Tuesday, chance of flurries, 60%, high of minus 5. So Cold coming in mainly tomorrow, a little colder, and then Friday cold, sunny though, and then you got your chance of snow on the weekend, a little milder. Look at your satellite over northern Ontario. A lot of clearing, more clearing than we've seen in a long time. But again, you get that cloudiness over the Great Lakes area, and Timmins, Sioux, Sudbury, North Bay always seems to have a lot of clouds over them. But we've been lucky the last little bit with a little bit of sunshine. That is your Sudbury weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with a little bit of a sports report right after this. All right, and as usual, our Sudbury Cubs here in the city have been really tearing it up. Cubs climbed the ladder, ranked 6th amongst Canadian junior teams. 2 more victories last week helped move the local Northern Ontario Junior League to 6th in the national rankings, up from 7th. So that's pretty awesome. And then Pro Ball has taken Samantha Cooper to surprising places, Sudbury.com reports. Local basketball player, their sub headline, from Greece back to Northern Ontario to Mexico and to Hungary. The pandemic proved interesting for Sudbury professional basketball player while she continues to pursue her master's degree. So that's awesome for Samantha Cooper, pro basketball player from Sudbury. I know women's basketball has really been taking off lately. Do you watch women's basketball at all, Zach? Have you ever had an opportunity to?
You know what? I think the question should be if I watch basketball at all. But I always really like Sudbury 5.
Yeah, Sudbury 5 will be back in town shortly, but someone that will be in town tonight in sports, anyways, is the Sudbury Wolves. And it is a special night tonight, as Tessa Benum will be in the house, because today is National Women and Girls in Sports Day, where the Wolves will be celebrating women in hockey with current TSN sports reporter, Canadian Olympic gold medalist, and women's hockey trailblazer Tessa Benum, who will join the Wolves for a special ceremonial puck drop before the game, and she'll also be available at the second intermission to sign some autographs and chat with the locals. And the Wednesday's game sponsored by Topper's Pizza. And I know you're familiar with Topper's Pizza quite intimately.
Yeah, good brand.
Yeah, well, you worked for Topper's Pizza, so.
Yep, many years.
Yeah,
great company.
Exactly. One lucky fan will receive $250 gift certificate from Topper's. I wonder what they would do with that gift certificate. What do you think?
With today's inflation numbers, maybe buy a couple pizzas.
Two large, 2-topping pizzas? You think it would get you that?
2 toppings, yeah.
2 toppings?
Yep.
Oh, there's a pizza eating contest too during the second intermission. That is going to be awesome. Fans are encouraged to visit Topper's tables in the front lobby as well as lower lobby beside the merch shop for a chance to win more great prizes. And then Friday, did you know they're retiring Mark Stahl's jersey at the game? He's currently playing defense for the Florida Panthers, former captain of the Sudbury Wolves, and he'll be in town. That's
really cool.
I know. It's not every day you get a jersey retirement going on. So that'll be a special time. Friday. That's this Friday.
Absolutely. Yeah, good for them.
And then Saturday is Black History Night at the Sudbury Arena, sponsored by Canadian Mental Health Association and a few others. And CMHA will also be holding a Chuck a Puck during the second intermission. You ever see that where they got that the board at the the net and it's got a hole that's pretty much the size of the puck.
Yep.
And they go like from the other blue line, basically, and they have to get it in that little hole in order to win.
Yeah.
It seems impossible. You would think that is impossible. And I was at a game just this year, and a guy actually got half the hole. Like half the puck was where the hole was and half not. Like that's how close he got. But you'd think it's impossible. You'd think that is impossible.
So it's a pretty big prize, obviously.
Yeah, it's usually a huge prize. It doesn't say what the prize is here for some strange reason. But I remember in the Sioux Greyhounds, Sioux Memorial Gardens, same kind of activity, same game, meaning that board with the little hole, the chuck the puck, they call it, I guess. They got it. Like they actually got it in the hole. Did it. And they won a new car. Like you said, it's usually a big prize.
That is a big prize.
Usually a big prize. And they got it. They won a car, for crying out loud. And I saw it with my own eyes. So if you're thinking it's impossible, it's not. Like I saw someone with my own eyes do it. However, I still think that was a 1 in a million thing that I saw. So anyways, that's a little bit of our little bit of sports. You still have a bit of breakup, choppiness on your sound for some reason. I know you chucked the earbuds, so I'm not sure what's happening. You did sound really cool at the beginning. I thought, okay, you nipped that one in the bud, in the earbud.
I haven't changed anything.
No, oh, you didn't? Okay.
Try my best.
Yeah. Well, I apologize to listeners or viewers, but maybe it'll just kick back in somehow. But that's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by Sudbury. Yeah, you never know. SudburySports.com is Randy Pascal's sports website, everything sports. He is that Sudbury Sports guy, and SudburySports.com is his website. Check it out for all things Sudbury Sports, and we'll be back with some news headlines. And Zach, hopefully the sound will kind of configure itself right after this. All right, and we are back with Zach for the attack on news headlines. And one thing I just wanted to start off with, because there was a gentleman that shared his business with me yesterday on LinkedIn. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to share this for you and share it on the show. I told him. So it's an organization called Little Kickers Sudbury. Are you familiar with that?
I read the article. It's really cool.
Yeah. So do we just drop off kids here? Frequent question asked by parents. No, you stay and have fun too. Here at Little Kickers, you support your child, guide them to overcome obstacles and challenges, helping them to grow and learn whilst having fun together. I love that. He used the word whilst.
That's impressive.
I know.
I'm with it. Yep.
That's an old Shakespearean, old English language word, so pretty cool. And parents don't mind pretending to drive spaceships or balancing cones on their head. As young as 18 months, we can start your child on their Little Kickers journey. And I think it goes 8 months to 7 years old of age. And
really little. Yeah.
Yeah, Little Kickers, right? So, and that was shared by, I think I wrote in the comments his name, but now I'm not seeing it. But anyways, I'll get it here. And I do have it. So, and it was Steve. Yeah, Steve shared that with us. So that's
cool.
Steve's business. And
I always like to see new things like that.
Yeah, pretty cool. In other news, as they say, in the big news world, we're big news guys here, and I just want to give a shout out to Monique. Good morning, everyone. She's with us each and every morning. And David, good morning. Thanks for being with us this morning. Got a lot of good news to talk about with Zach here. Diane, good morning. Good morning, Sudbury. Thanks for being with us. Yeah, we got a really good core group here, Zach. Since you've, started out on the show, it's,
Right.
we had, the audience has been building, and we have a really cool core group, people that are on each and every day, and make sure to comment. And we have some really great conversations. And I know you said on your way to work and stuff, you're still catching the show,
hmm
right? And so
Well,
what are,
for me, it's like I like the news, I like the weather, I like the local stuff, and you can't really get it anywhere else. Like at least not in this compacted form. And I listen to a lot of things, during the day. But radio, for me, radio has like a special kind of place. Like it's different than a podcast or,
yeah.
um, just listening to music. Like there's kind of this special little spot for radio. So for me, it's more of a radio program. That's why I don't pitch in that much because that's usually the way that I listen. It's I spend a lot of time in the car.
Yeah, and if
And
you're driving, it's good that you're not pitching in because you'd be texting and driving. So it's a good thing.
well, like I said, if I'm at home and I'm listening, I might pitch in. But if I'm in the
Yeah,
car, it's a different format, right?
yeah. And I've seen you on YouTube a few times. Uh,
hmm
come on, and I know we're getting a few more people coming on YouTube. I know Miles. He's watching YouTube. I guess some people have found some glitchiness on Facebook from time to time, and they
hmm
found YouTube is a little more less or a little less glitchy. So going right into some of these headlines today, this is one I saw this morning. I'm sure CBC would have had it on the radio this morning. They usually do that. They'll have interviews and this is the head story, and then they'll share it on their Facebook. But this is a story that's been, on a lot of people's minds recently, and most recently since the beginning of the pandemic. Long-term care facilities
hmm
and the kind of care that our elderly and vulnerable people in those facilities are receiving, and what we can do about it. And there's a lot of challenges. One being staff shortages, and I think that is the main one. There could be other ones too, but I know from someone that I know we talk a lot about it, a good friend of mine, and she notices that is one of the big hurdles they have at these long-term care facilities is staffing issues. It's the same issues we face at
Yep.
our hospitals as well, right? So they're kind of like a,
That doesn't surprise me at all.
so if you don't look at the staff, if you don't have staff to deliver the care, then I don't think you'll find a single person who lives here that is concerned with what that home looks like. It hurts my heart. Like, they've done a lot to upgrade and make them nicer
hmm
facilities, newer, modern, wider hallways, this, that, and the other. But again, if you don't have the kind of care from people, then it's really not, it's really a non-issue.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you don't have customers at a business, it doesn't matter how
Yeah,
many. It's like the
exactly.
same thing. Because the
Exactly.
people, like when you go to a fast food restaurant, they've started to kind of phase out like the cashier and
Yeah.
started to use machines and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, it seems like healthcare is one step ahead in some aspects of technology, and they're always one step behind in other aspects. And
Hmm.
I think automation is it's going to have to take some of the brunt of the staffing shortages, just like I said with fast food. Like they've kind of looked into the future and
Yeah.
seen that staffing is going to be a problem, so they found an
Exactly.
alternate solution to that.
Um, so this was a concern from Amanda Farrow Giroux. She's the president of CUPE Local 1339. It's
hmm
been about 2.5 years since Patricia Palto's mother died. Eliana Desbois lived in St. Gabriel's Villa, a long-term care home in Chelmsford. She was one of more than 17,000 long-term care residents who died in Canada because of COVID-19. At the time, family members weren't allowed to visit the home due to public restrictions. Now, Have you ever heard the term dying of a broken heart?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I thought of when I saw this article.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Now, it'd be hard to get the numbers of how many people actually died due to COVID or something else, like, or a broken heart. They weren't able to see their family members. I know with my father, let's say, he, if you say you're going to be there at 2:00, he is waiting. He's looking
Yep.
at the clock. It's 1:59, 30 seconds, 31 seconds, 32 seconds. And he's knows you said 2:00. He's waiting for you to be there. So I can just imagine if someone like him wasn't allowed, he wasn't in a long-term care facility at that time. But if he was, how that would have impacted him. I could see him being one of the casualties, dying of a broken heart rather than
Yep.
some condition.
No, totally. I think a broken heart is a condition. And they're kind of careful in the article. They said something to do with like people died due to COVID. And I think during the period of COVID, there were a lot of deaths that you wouldn't necessarily be able to attribute to the virus itself, but it just had a lot of effects that you can't necessarily quantify, like you said. And Canada, like Ontario, obviously Chelmsford, like in this article, but a lot of other places just did not know how to handle like an emergency situation like this. And we were kind of making it up as we went, and that means a lot of people suffer. And I think part of this article goes over that. Like part of the new, going forward, part of the new plan is to have plans in place for situations like this. And I think that's smart because if COVID revealed anything, it revealed that we weren't prepared for emergencies like this. We just weren't. We're just not in a position where we can deal with emergencies. If we're just dealing with day-to-day issues, like staffing shortages, things like that, when an emergency happens, it's just going to be way, way worse, right?
Remember they brought the army in? They brought like the armed forces in to, because a lot of workers weren't coming in, I guess, due to them being afraid of what, they could contract, what the unknown kind of at the time. It was more unknown, so they were more fearful. And then the army, can you imagine being in a home where you're used to all the routines and everything, and all of a sudden there's all these army personnel everywhere, administering services to you? That would have been, wow, like mind-blowing for me as an elderly person.
Oh, for sure. And like we could talk about this for hours. Sadly, this is my time limit. Do have to get going. But I'd love to come on again. I mean, long-term care homes is going to be a long-term solution. There's no short-term easy solutions for it, but glad to see that the MPP or the Sudbury MPP, Nickel Belt, isn't it? France yelling at us, not Sudbury itself. She's right next.
Nickel Belt. She's Nickel Belt. Yeah, MPP.
Right.
Yep.
I'm glad to see that she, is chiming in on it. Not sure how much, sway the Nickel Belt MPP is going to have on the entire provincial budgets, but
she is the
Just
opposition.
a money issue.
She's the official
not
health.
Necessarily just a money issue either, right?
No, but she is the official health critic of the opposition. So she is that.
Right.
That is her thing, right? But yeah, I'm going to steal I'm going to steal your phrase that you said is long-term care requires long-term solutions. I like that, Zach.
Stop thinking short-term with long-term care.
Wow.
All right.
Well,
I'll see you guys next time on the show. And
thanks a lot, Zach.
Enjoy it. I'll be listening.
You're welcome anytime too. You know that.
Okay. I'm going to take advantage. See you
Thanks,
later.
Zach. Great to have you with us today. Have a good one. That's Zach Ireland. He is that, he's always ready to go. As you could see today, he was with us, raring and ready to go, and great guest, and actually huge part of Sudbury News Talk, because he was, this show, being a part of the show, gave me a kick in the rear to get things going. And I just have to find another thing here somewhere. I'm just trying to look at. I'm going to use the sports logo. I don't know what's going on here with my. But anyways, I'll just read Karen's comment. She said, hopefully, I'm 20 years away from being in a home, but sure, but I'm sure us baby boomers can expect more from the whole system. Yeah, I would hope so. And the Army going in to help brought to light how run down the system is or was due to COVID or no COVID. Yeah, I think it actually, like we talked about earlier, it showed holes in the system, basically. Yeah, good morning, Julia. Thanks for being with us. Jennifer, good morning. Thanks for being on. We're talking about long-term health care problems in the city, in the province, and Zach coined the phrase, long-term care requires long-term solutions. Stop thinking short-term for long-term care. That's his marketing side coming out there, which I really think is a great slogan, and we do need that. It says now new national standards for long-term care homes in Canada have now been published and hope to prevent future avoidable deaths in long-term care homes. They're part of Ottawa's attempt to avoid a repeat of the alarming death tolls in long-term care homes during the early days of the pandemic. New standards address everything from preventing falls and maintaining flexible meal schedules to end-of-life care and emergency plans for catastrophic events. They also include recommendations for flexible visitor policies and for maintaining social interaction with family, even during public health emergencies. Yeah, exactly. Don't want any more people leaving us due to broken hearts as opposed to acquiring illness. Had a similar set of standards been implemented in 2020, Pelto said her mother might have survived the pandemic. So Franz Jelena, as Zach brought up, MPP for Nickel Belt, New Democrat, says she welcomes the new standards. However, as a critic, she's going to have to criticize it. Obviously, she's not going to say that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. However, she says for both staffing shortages in long-term care and new standards to be taken seriously, political will is necessary. So, okay. Unfortunately, long-term care homes are easy to forget and they are easy to ignore. And right now, the government is choosing to ignore them. If you cannot ensure dignity, which is true, that is what long-term care facilities say that they will ensure, is the dignity of the person. That's in their mission statement, their vision statement. They'll oftentimes have it posted on a large poster as you walk in. I know they do in the Sioux as I visited my father's facility. I took a picture of it actually because I thought these very words, I thought, wow, that's not what's happening. If you cannot ensure dignity, if you cannot ensure respect of the people in long-term care, then we are in the exact same position we were in before the pandemic, Jelena said. And Amanda Ferrer-Giroux, who is the president of the local 1339 CUPE, union president, some 120 workers at, she represents 120 workers at East Home in Powassan. While she is in agreement that the provincial government needs to adopt these standards without fixing ongoing staffing challenges, however, in long-term care, she said, the new standards have no chance of being effective. If you don't have staff to deliver the care, then I don't think you'll find a single person who lives there that's concerned with what the home looks like. And she said it hurts her heart, and that hurts my heart as well. Many problems with long-term health care. Jennifer, for sure, I agree. And Monique is saying, good morning to you, specifically. So thanks for, again, being on, everyone, as I try and fix this problem. Let me see if I can do it. We'll be back right after this with more headlines. I guess. I don't know what's going on, so hard to figure this out. It's not allowing me to switch things up, but hard to say. What's happening here? Try that. We'll try this. We'll try that. Oh, there you go. Just had to do that again. Thanks for bearing with me, all y'all radio listeners out there in CKLU land, whenever I'm trying to fix some of my technical things. I do try and verbalize it as well so you know what's happening. As I am host, producer, writer, technical guy, all things on the show. It is all volunteer on a volunteer radio station, and you too can have a show. This is a good time for a plug for everyone. You can have your own show on CKLU as well. You don't need a camera. You don't need to do live streaming, but you can have a show on CKLU. All you got to do is email gm@cklu.ca. That will go to Rob, and pitch him your idea. You can. So this show is about a local news show where we go through all the local news in the city and try and have a conversation around it. That's the theme of the show. And so if you have a similar show you want to do about gardening, let's say you had a show you want to do about gardening, you could do that and pitch him and say what you particularly want to have in the show, and there you go, voila. And if you want to put a camera on yourself while you're doing the show, there you go, live stream it. Very easy with the technology. And I thank Facebook and YouTube, and I thank the monitors as well, moderating the platforms. I'm grateful for the platforms to be able to allow someone like myself to be able to do what we're doing here today. It's a technological marvel, and I'm grateful for that. I got lots to complain about, as you can tell if you do watch the show or listen to it, but I am very grateful for a lot of things as well. I was having a conversation last night, and we were talking about things that, we're kind of bickering about everything we say, but there is a lot to be grateful for in our country, in our community, in our lives. But at the same time, when you see something that's good, there's nothing wrong with wanting to make it better. So talking and discussing about making good things better, there's nothing wrong with that. And so critiquing rather than criticizing it, I think, is a good way to bring to pass making good things even better. Thanks, Monique. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate that, Jennifer. Thank you very much. No complaining, just expressing views. Yeah, that's true. And we should have the right to do that. That is true. All of us expressing our views. So here you go. If you want to express your views, City is hosting Online Budget 2023 information sessions. The City of Greater Sudbury is hosting 2 2023 budget information sessions with meetings scheduled for February 1st and February the 6th. Again, it's a good way to get your thoughts heard, your opinions heard. In advance of the February City Council budget deliberations, the city is hosting the 2 information sessions with the public. They're going to go on February 1st and the 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. both nights. Links to the meetings are available. This is a Sudbury.com article. I shared it on my Facebook feed. You can just go there or go directly to Sudbury.com and look for the article. It's overtoyou.greatersudbury.ca/budget-2023. overtoyou.greatersudbury.ca/budget-2023 is the link for residents unable to attend. They will be recorded. These meetings will be recorded and made available online for viewing. A question and answer tool will be available for people to ask questions about the budget until February 15th. Oftentimes, I know we talk on this show about not being aware of some of the things going on in the city and how we're not able to get our voices heard. And here's a really great example of letting people know far in advance. It's like a week to 2 weeks in advance of these things, and we have a lot of heads up on it, so no excuse if we want to get involved and have our voices heard. This is the second round of public engagement for the city's proposed 2023 budget. The first round of feedback was presented to City Council on January 17th. Contributors completed 872 surveys, so 872 people chimed in, revealing their top priorities for winter maintenance, road maintenance, construction. 85% each followed. So that was the top thing people were concerned about. Maintenance and road maintenance and construction. 85%. That's a lot. Followed by drinking water, wastewater, stormwater, emergency services, garbage and recycling, and recreation programs and facilities, with other services trailing behind. So that was the other 15%. So mainly roads. Again, right? I knew off the top, if you're just talking about potholes and roads management, there you go, 85%. If you're thinking of running next election If that's all you talked about, goes to show you what people are very concerned about in the city, mainly. Information collected throughout the public engagement process is shared with City Council for their consideration during budget deliberations. The city's 2023 tax increase currently sits at 7.3%. City Council asked city administrators to par it down, to which required them to cut 17.8 million from the base budget. So there you go. Get your voice heard, get involved, get on the Zoom calls, or just follow the link and let people know what you think. So Jennifer's saying she worked in a retirement home, nursing home, and home care, long-term care a long time ago. It's a sad place to work and to be, unfortunately. Things need to change, and thank you, truckers, for opening up the big can of worms. Let's hope we see change. Yeah, and that was the anniversary, right? Just recently of the Freedom Rally that took place last year. And so there were a bunch of Canadians who thought, which isn't quite like Canadians, to actually hit the streets and, vocalize dissatisfaction with things. And in this case, it were the stringent mandates that were, imposed in Canada, one of the strongest in the world. And if you look at the numbers now, are our deaths any less or more? Let's do a post-pandemic, post-mortem to see if the decisions we made really affected us in a positive or negative way. We have statistics now. We can look back at it and see. And so Cliff is saying he would like to see a study done to see how long it's taken, or how long it will still take before we recover from Jim Gordon's decade or so of no tax increases. Yeah, so people like to hear no tax increases, but at the same time, services could suffer for that. And then Jennifer's going back. They shed a light on so many things we need to change, for sure. Yes, definitely. The idea of freedom, used to be a no-brainer, like freedom to choose, freedom to make your own decisions. But lately, it's actually become a bad word in some circles, right? And it's weird. It's just weird. I'm just going to put it that way. And speaking of, budgets and tax increases and accountability and change and all that, there's a letter from SudburyStar.com. A lot of people will write letters, and the headline of this is still pushing for an independent review of City Hall. A lot of people want to know what is going on behind the curtain. The Wizard of Oz, like we want to see behind the curtain. In the Wizard of Oz, they get to the castle, they get in there, the curtain comes, and they see what's behind the curtain. And they find a lot of things there. They find that it's just a man. It wasn't some great glorious being that they thought. They found, things were, reality was shown, let's say. And Jean-Yves Biliold, I don't know how to pronounce the name. I apologize. Jean-Yves, I'll just call him Jean-Yves, offers again an up-to-date analysis of the goings-on at Sudbury City Hall. He said, among other comments and questions, asks if proposed policy to save money, to not replace good employees as they leave or retire, should be considered. City needs staff to properly deliver services. Some employees might be considered essential, such as firefighters and personal support workers, and should be replaced with equally good people. However, there is still plenty of dead wood inside City Hall, including some of the top brass who throw their weight around, but frequently land with a heavy thud. Quoting him, The quote is, examples of less than stellar performances abound. Those at the top are certainly not going to confess their sins, which is why the province and city council has to cooperate and initiate an independent forensic audit or third-party review of the operations of our city, which I also agree with, and I've voiced many times on this show. There are signs the province may be taking a greater interest in the city's operations. To close, I quote from his letter again, we have to balance internal and external resources, but this is not what I see happening. Me either, and that's from Art Peach. So I guess there was a letter from Jean-Yves that talked about the problems at City Hall and the fact that a lot of us wanted to see an audit there, financial or otherwise, just a forensic audit, an HR audit, an operations audit, and in that would be financial as well. Like there's a lot of signs that we need one. When was the last time we had one? What can we do to better our city? If you don't see what's there, I know Miranda Rocca-Churchelli, who we had on the show, was all for a forensic audit. Less in offices and more on the ground. Yeah, exactly. You know the way the joke goes, or whatever. People say, hey, you ever see the city workers, doing their job? There's 4 supervisors and 1 guy with a shovel. That's not just someone making this stuff up. That's actually things people see with their own eyes all the time, have seen them for years. There's been problems with the way things have been run. Look at Laurentian University. I think that's a great example. What happened to Laurentian University in the Auditor General's report. I bet you if you took the Auditor General's report of Laurentian University's insolvency and you just took it and imagined if she did it with the city of Greater Sudbury, you would probably find the exact same critique. And the main word starts with a capital I, incompetence. And a lot of the upper echelon jobs that couldn't even describe what they did, what their job roles were. The titles were ambiguous, but they had large salaries, but they couldn't really define what they did in their roles. So how many people in the city currently are in that same position that if you remove them, it's almost like you can have a computer program and just say, okay, what if we remove this position? What would happen? And it's almost like that game, you build up the blocks and then you got to remove one by one and then wait till it falls. And a lot of times when you got to get a job done, you're surprised when you get a skeleton crew together, a bootstrapped project, and you're like, wow, everyone worked hard at this and we got it done. And you're surprised that as little people as you did that worked really hard got the job done. That's the kind of thing, like it's efficiency. If you look for efficiencies and streamlining, and then that would then bring cost effectiveness to the city. And then maybe, things would run more efficiently and you'd find not only things like that, you'd find all kinds of ways. Hey, we're doing things this way. Is there a way we can do it quicker, faster, with less people? And I bet you there is a way. If China can build a hospital in 7 days, and I don't condone China's political system at all. However, if you look at how they were able to accomplish something like that, it shows it can be done. And what's stopping us from doing similar things? There was a little bridge by my house. I talked about this before. It took 6 months to build a little bridge over a creek. 6 months. What's wrong with this picture? Something's wrong. What do I know? How do you find out what's wrong? Well, I can just sit here and talk all day about what I think is wrong. And then people could be upset about why you're criticizing the city or they're doing a good job and this, and which they are, which people work hard in the city. No one's saying people don't. Are there people that don't work hard in the city though, as well? Do you think? I think the answer to that is yes as well. I think there are people who grab their Tim Hortons coffee on their way to their office and do absolutely nothing but Google all day and Facebook. I guarantee you. And go to the odd meeting and make over $100,000 a year. I do know that is true. And are there people that work really hard for their money and are very efficient and contribute and are very honest? There are those people as well. Now, if you do an audit, you're able to see which ones those are. That's what an audit does. And you're able to then make decisions based on that. Okay, so Miles says, it was easy to see where the issues are when you see the sunshine list come out every year. Yeah, exactly. You're on the same wavelength as I am. Lots of wasted money, Monique says, exactly. As a union worker, I can attest the union jobs are slow, really slow. And I can attest to that as well. 6 months to build a bridge over a creek. Or if you're from some other places, crick, if you prefer. So, yeah. Audit for the city. I'm all for it. I'm going to continue to bang that drum as far as I have an ability to bang a drum. The current mayor says, no way. Jose, too expensive. Too expensive. So if it's too expensive, but $100 million library is not too expensive, but a city audit that would cost money to save money, too expensive. Yeah. So again, these are the things we know. Vale's nickel sales volume soars by 30% in fourth quarter of 2022. Brazil's Vale, one of the world's largest companies, on Tuesday reported a fourth quarter 1% fall in iron ore production from a year earlier, while the sales volume of nickel soared. The company said it produced 80.85 million tons of iron ore during the last 3 months of 2022, sending its annual output 307.8 million tons, slightly below the 310 million ton forecast. Vale blamed seasonally higher rainfall levels in its mines in Brazil for missing its forecast. Blah, blah, blah. That's just a bunch of information about why they didn't hit their target for iron ore sales. However, their profits due to nickel soared by 30%. So I don't know why they talk about they weren't able to get their iron ore projected amounts. The story should basically be like what the heck they did to get this 30% sales volume increase in the fourth quarter. New businesses, a sign. This is from the Sudbury Star. A new business is a sign that Sudbury's downtown core is coming back strong. 4 new commercial enterprises to open at 158 Elgin. We've been talking about a lot of these businesses on the show in recent shows. 4 new commercial enterprises opening at 158 Elgin Street, including the Night Owl, have opened 158 Elgin Street, thanks in part to a CIP. Okay. Once home to a media company, 158 Elgin Street, once owned by a media company, once owned by, well, I guess it was Laurentian Media that was bought out by Village Media from Sault Ste. Marie, which now owns Sudbury.com. That was the building. It is set to become the stage of one of Greater Sudbury's coolest haunts. The Night Owl. Oh, it is the Night Owl. In the headline, it says the Nye Owl. But anyways, I thought, okay, well, maybe they're calling it the Nye Owl. Well, the Night Owl.vip, a swanky downtown hideaway with a certain cachet, so says the website, could become the city's most coveted spot for an after-work cocktail. Located in the basement at 159 or 158 Elgin, the Speakeasy style bar will be accessed via 2 entry points, including a vintage telephone, and is opening only by reservation. The Night Owl is one of just four new commercial enterprises to open at 158 Elgin, formerly home of Laurentian Publishing. Kendra McIsaac of downtown Sudbury said she's very excited. They're joining a big group of people, rediscovering the core and reinvesting in downtown. The Night Owl is indicative of what can be expected with a visit to the city core, McIsaac said. No matter the municipality, downtowns are traditionally where some of the most novel, innovative enterprises are located, and hopefully soon a new arena as well. And Monique says, that is crazy. New library. There's more need right now. Yes, the library that's already started construction, a lot of the preliminary work, gas things underground and whatever. They're very, very happy and very eager to get that started before someone kiboshes it. Legacy project. Nope, I haven't talked to. Okay, out of every 20 people I've talked to, one person looks on it favorably in my own personal network and just talking to people. Out of 20 people, one person out of 20 is in favor. And just for whatever reason, like, hey, maybe it'll beautify downtown Sudbury. Maybe, it's really good that we're going green and we're showing other communities that we can have a net zero $100 million project that only takes taxpayers' money after that to maintain it. There's no income coming in whatsoever for it. Not a good business model. But anyways, here's another headline. Sudbury School Board makes decision on drag event after putting the brakes on the planned event involving high-profile drag queers at Sudbury High School 2 weeks ago. The Rainbow District School Board has made a final decision about the International Day of Pink. So after putting its brakes on the planned event 2 weeks ago, it has officially canceled its participation. The decision was made following a meeting with an organizer from the International Day of Pink. There is agreement that the board will focus its efforts on existing events in support of students and will not participate in the tour. The school board said in a news release on Tuesday afternoon. The organizer is currently considering a community-based event during the event of February 10th. The Courage Across Canada tour, featuring drag superstars such as the winner of Canada's Drag Race Season 2, was planning to visit Llewellyn Secondary School in February. The tour is visiting 10 communities across the country, sharing drag and stories at local schools by day and celebrating with free performances at local venues by night. A spokesperson for the school board told CTV in an email last week that the request to host the tour came to the board's attention on January the 17th. So they decided not to go ahead with it. And I'm wondering how this organization is funded if they're able to put on all these free events. Like, who's paying for their food, their transportation, the people themselves to be able to do the performances. It's very expensive to offer all these free events, 10 communities across the country. Just wondering who's footing the bill. Wondering if it's a taxpayer's expense type of thing. I have no idea. But these are the questions that I ask. Laurentian University might be reopening the Olympic-sized pool. They're looking into it. So they're taking the next steps and testing and doing an assessment of the pool to see if they're going to reopen it. Hopefully they do. So it's a really good thing for the community to have an Olympic-sized pool. Sudbury volunteer earns provincial award. Riho Vistala, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, a longtime volunteer with Finlandia Village in Sudbury, has been honored with a provincial award. Congratulations, Riho. And again, I hope I pronounced his name correctly. Mr. Vitila, if I have not. Laurentian University ends high-profile fight with Sudbury couple. Laurentian University was paid $20,000 for that little bit of land that was in dispute with a couple's home that they had their septic tank on and things like that, but it was really owned by Laurentian and they didn't want to sell it to them and all this stuff for years and years and years. They offered them more than $20,000 before, but they settled on $20,000 now. So a lot of expenses went out for lawyers' fees and things like that. Laurentian, again, showing mismanagement, just showing how incompetent they were with dealing with many things. This is just one example of it. So they got paid $20,000, which was less than the couple offered them in the first place. Just goes to show you how do things right in the first place, and you won't end up with in a situation like this. And with that, that's all the time we have. Thanks for commenting, everyone. Thanks for being with us. And the views that were expressed on this show don't necessarily reflect those of Laurentian University or that of CKLU. They are that entirely of myself and anyone who is on the show, CKLU, here on Sudbury News Talk. We appreciate you. We appreciate the time you spent with us today. We look forward to being with you again tomorrow, 7:30. Stay tuned now on CKLU for Earshot Daily. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great one, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.